Alright, so to mess up the algorithm a little bit, today I'm going to read another Substack article, and the article is called Why Highly Self Aware People Suffer in Ways No One Sees. So, this is actually from an Instagram post. I will show you over here. And I thought it was pretty interesting, so maybe y'all can drop her a follow, take a look, and just have a read at her recommendations. So let's start. This is by Karun. There's a kind of suffering that doesn't look like suffering at all. No breakdowns, no chaos, no visible wounds. Just a person who seems too reflective, too self-aware, too conscious of every word, every gesture, every breath they take. It's something I call toxic self-awareness. Your ability to observe yourself becomes the very thing that slowly destroys your peace. Most highly sensitive, deep thinkers, introverts, and thoughtful people fall into it without ever realizing. Because they feel everything emotions, feelings, even the slightest change in expression doesn't go unnoticed. But no one warns you that the more aware you are, the more you start turning on yourself. It starts quietly. You notice things deeply. The tone in someone's voice, the shift in someone's eyes, the tension in a room that no one else feels. You think deeply about your intentions, your decisions, your emotional reactions. You reflect deeply on what you could have said differently, what you should have done better, what you must never do again. In the beginning, it feels like maturity, like emotional intelligence. But silently, it turns into a prison. Because when you're too self aware, you don't just notice, you start monitoring yourself. Every thought, every feeling, every flaw. You become a full time observer of your own existence. And without noticing, your inner world becomes less of a home and more of a courtroom. You punish yourself for things most people forget in 30 seconds. That one awkward moment. Cringing over that one sentence you said 3 weeks ago. That one boundary you didn't set. That one tone that felt wrong. That one emotional reaction that wasn't perfect. And the worst part, you replay it over and over. You analyze not just to understand, but to self-blame. You apologize in advance for your feelings, for your presence, for your existence. You start walking on eggshells around yourself. We fear being misread. A nervous laugh, an awkward interaction, a misjudged silence can define us in someone's mind forever. And so we adjust. We refine, we calibrate, we edit ourselves to fit into the frame others have constructed for us. But in doing so, we lose something real, the essence that makes us who we are. That's what toxic self-awareness does. It convinces you that your mistakes are catastrophic when they are actually human. It convinces you that the world will reject the real you unless you constantly self-edit. And so without noticing, you become both the prisoner and the guard. It ruins your confidence quietly, not through loud self-hate, but through constant self-doubt. You question your intuition. You question your intentions. You question your worth. You become hyper-aware of how you come across. Am I too much? Too emotional? Too quiet? Too intense? Too sensitive? You start shrinking yourself because the idea of disappointing someone feels unbearable. You over-explain, you over-apologize, you over-correct. You stop trusting your natural self. And the tragedy is this: you are not insecure. You are exhausted from carrying awareness that you cannot share with anyone. It destroys relationships in a way no one sees. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much. You analyze every silence, you micromanage every interaction, you fear hurting people so deeply that you end up avoiding people altogether. You become the friend who never asks for help, the partner who doesn't express needs, the person who says it's fine even when you are breaking. Because toxic self-awareness teaches you one dangerous lie. Your needs are inconveniences. So you swallow it all, your desires, your hurt, your confusion, your emotions. You call it being emotionally intelligent, and it leaves you feeling painfully alone. Not because people don't love you, but you never let them meet the real you. The worst part, you turn your wisdom into self-sabotage. Because when you are always aware, you start overthinking every possibility, including your own success. You doubt your dreams. You question your talent. You fear visibility. You hesitate to take risk. You sabotage opportunities because you are constantly worried about, what if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I disappoint everyone? You reject yourself before the world can. That's the cruelty of toxic self-awareness. You become so conscious of everything that could go wrong that you stop yourself from everything that could go right. And ironically, highly sensitive people fall into the trap the most. Not because they are weak, but because they feel too much and think too deeply in a world that rewards emotional numbness. But the truth is, they are ones who carry everyone's pain, but no one notices their pain. No one checks on the self-aware one. No one comforts the emotionally intelligent one. No one asks if the deep thinker is tired of their own mind. And so they suffer quietly, not in public, not loudly, not dramatically, but silently in the quiet corners of their own mind. Toxic self-awareness is invisible because it doesn't look like struggle. It looks like maturity. But inside you're drowning in mental noise, wishing someone would see it, wishing someone would ask the right questions, wishing someone would tell you. You don't have to carry yourself so perfectly. Because the truth is, you need to feel safe enough to stop being so aware all the time. You need someone who lets you be imperfect. You need a life where you can finally stop monitoring yourself. A life where you can be just you. If you saw yourself anywhere in these lines, then please hear this. You deserve a life where you don't have to overanalyze your every move. You deserve connection that doesn't require self-editing. You deserve to exist without apology. You deserve mornings where you wake up without the weight of yesterday's thoughts still sitting on your chest. Conversations where you don't have to scan every word before you speak. Moments where you can laugh without wondering if it was too loud. A love that doesn't make you question if you are being too much. You deserve a world where your awareness is not a burden, but a gift that shows your depth, your rich inner life, your beautiful mind that shows who you truly are. And that kind of life begins with understanding yourself in a gentler way, a way that doesn't hurt, a way that doesn't shame, a way that doesn't suffocate you with expectations. If this is the first time someone has put your inner life into words, this author wrote an entire book for that feeling. It's called Born to Stand Up. It begins where this letter ends. And if no one has told you this lately, I see you, I feel you, and you are not as alone as you think. I am another you. Karun. And that's the end of it. I think this was a really good read. It does follow on from the other questions or the other thoughts that I had on my previous video. And yeah, I guess I can share my thoughts and write my own reflection in my next video too. But drop this a read. It's pretty interesting. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.